All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we're moving into our next replay. This is an Ochakov. Now, this is a Tier 8 Soviet cruiser. We're going to go ahead and put the build viewer up. This is, I believe, if I'm right, the light cruiser line, because these are the 152s, the 6-inch guns. The Ochakov at Tier 8 is a hipper hull with 152mm guns, correct?
Yes.
Hip.
You mean Smolensk?
I
I thought it was a hipper hull. Is it Smolensk?
I thought it was a Smolensk hull.
I'm
Okay.
pretty sure it's not a hipper. I don't think it has 27mm armor.
Maybe I'm thinking of the Talon. One of the
Whether-
two was a
The
hipper hull.
Talon is a hipper hull,
Okay.
but it still
The
only has
Ochak-
25. But
Okay, fair enough. So the Ochakov is a hipper hull, or Smolensk hull, whatever. She's got 152mm guns. She's got a 10-kilometer radar range. She's also got hydro. Frankly, most people are going to grind through her to the Tier 9 of the light cruiser line, which...
They would if she weren't a premium.
Yeah, Ochakov is to premium.
I think you're thinking of the Chapayev.
There's the Chapayev. Yeah, and then that
there's
goes
too
on.
many.
There's too many damn Tier 8 Soviet cruisers.
Yes. Now, this is actually a point I really want to make, is that a lot of people have no idea what the heck this ship is, which sometimes allows me to surprise people.
Yeah.
That's fair. You really don't see it often. Also,
No,
I don't
you
think
don't.
it's a Smolensk hull either, looking at the armor scheme.
So
Okay.
the official description is preliminary designs for several light cruisers were developed in 1950. One of them was armed with the 4 BL-115 turrets. So it looks like it's one of the light cruiser projects, but not specifically anything.
Like, it kind of looks like a Smolensk, not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
But it does have 25mm and not the 16mm of a Smolensk, so it's the armor values are regular light cruiser ones for Tier 8, even if it looks like it's a Smolensk.
Okay. Either way, let's go ahead and take a look at the way that you built the ship, and then we'll look at this. Now, you said this is one of your favorite ships. Is that correct, Resock?
Yes. Partly because it surprises people. Part of it is I actually played it a lot more on my EU account way back in the depths of the pandemic, and I was playing a lot on EU.
Okay.
It was one of the early ships I got because it was a Santa. It was one of the short lists from the Santa crates. So I played it a lot on that account, where I have in 52 games a 69% win rate with it.
Okay.
Nice.
Like,
So
it has a lot of tools that I even though it's not necessarily the best at any of them. That's what I
Okay.
like. That's what I like about it.
Okay, perfect. So let's take a look at your build. You've got main armaments mod 1, radar mod, aiming systems, propulsion mod, and then concealment. Now, radar module I would only recommend if it's a ship that you really enjoy playing, because it's a Tier 8, so most of the time you're going to want to use that on your Tier 10s or whatnot. But hey, if you really enjoy it, there you go, right?
Yep.
If you have enough coal, there's basically no reason to not use it.
Right. Your
But on
rudder
the other
shift
hand,
is...
if you don't want to spend the coal, then can get by without it.
Your rudder shift time is under 10 seconds, so propulsion makes perfect sense here. Aiming systems make sense, and then concealment, of course. What do you have for a captain here? Is it a special captain or just a regular?
It is Kuznetsov.
Of course, you've gone for OP's off. All right, so he gets enhanced consumable specialist, and then you've gone consumables enhancement. So you want to get that radar up as soon as possible, and then you want to make it out there as long as possible. Now, with those together, where is it? Your radar action time is 26.4 seconds. Not the longest of radars, but at Tier 8, it's okay, right?
I think it's 20 seconds base.
Yeah. That would make sense with all the upgrades. Yep.
It helps the Hydro too, which is nice. So it's not just for the radar.
Mm-hmm. Sure, the Hydro's up for just over 2 minutes. And then from there you went into Superintendent, you went into Concealment, Incoming Fire Alert. That's handy, especially at long-range battleships. Adrenaline Rush, into Survivability, and then Radio Location. So you're trying to figure out where are enemy destroyers so you can chase them down and then radar them. Is that correct?
Yes, which is something I haven't done in the past. It's something I decided to switch to do because
Okay.
I found that sometimes it's not necessarily that I'm doing a lot of damage; it's who I'm doing the damage to.
Okay.
And the Ochakov has Russian guns, so as opposed to the Cleveland, which it is very similar in available activations to. It has much flatter firing arcs, so it can, at 10 kilometers, it can really be a threat to destroyers, where the Cleveland, if they're fast, it can be really tough with how floaty those shells are.
And Axel.
And the ship stealth radar? What's the concealment?
9.
Oh, it can stealth radar?
It can stealth radar. That's so it
Makes
is
radio
extremely.
location a lot more valuable.
Yeah. Because as soon as you get targeted, or you get detected, I should say, you pop your radar, boom, you see who it is, and because your radar lasts for 26 seconds, you'll get 2, for the most part, salvos.
At least, so so its detectability is 9 kilometers. It's so when you hit it, if they're coming towards you, that means I'm gonna have them for a long time.
Yep, you're gonna get.
It makes top grade gunner really good too if you can stealth radar.
You're gonna get 3 or 4 salvos on whatever.
4 to 5. 5 optimal, probably 3 mostly. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now, top grade gunner is not picked here. In order to pick top grade gunner, he'd have to sacrifice. What would he sacrifice? Superintendent? Maybe survivability?
I would only sacrifice the radio location. I think it's either or.
Yeah, that's one of the with those, because it has so little HP. It has I think 30,000 base, so 800 with survivability expert. It's so squishy.
The problem for me is radio location is so helpful because you know where to aim your guns before you hit the radar button. So
you can also probably figure out in some cases if there is a destroyer in radar range that is not detecting you already, so it's right between the 9 and the 10. If you can look at your radar location and the closest enemy you see.
6.1 seconds. It helps if you're, you get that extra 10% if you're within enemy ships. So using the radar can definitely help there. Okay, you could do that.
It's like the same thing with the Des Moines, right? It's just you know when you pop your radar something, your top grade gunner will be active, which is good.
Right.
But radar location is too.
That's the hard part, right? Which of these two do you take? Signal flags, you got anti-det, ramming flag, fire chance, speed, hydroacoustic, consumables, and anti-air. Not bad choices. Shall we get to your replay?
Yep.
Okay. Now, before we got to the replay, the question was, why Ochakov? Here you are in a tier 10 game. You're about to have all the fun. Now, there's no carriers, and, you're in one of the ships that could take both defensive anti-air and hydro, but no carriers. Right?
No, it's defensive AA and hydro.
Yeah. Did I just say or? I meant to say
or.
and. Sorry, I meant to say and, because normally it's one or the other. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
I think this ship also is much better in divisions. Like, if you pair this with a destroyer that could smoke you up, it makes it so much better.
Yeah.
Yes. Which theoretically is a thing we could have done. But we weren't thinking about that.
Okay.
Also, it will eventually become obvious that that smoke would not have been a good idea.
You're divisioned with Eddie, who's in a Harakaze.
So this one is a pretty good anti-destroyer division. You have your radar, and then you have Harakaze spotting and guns. So in theory, you can just nuke. You can even nuke the Shimakaze in Holland if you wanted to.
You could. Pockington, if you're here, say something in chat, because Puddin is on... he's doing his giveaway. Thank you, Puddin.
I mean, he said something right before the giveaway was drawn.
Autumn says, that's not my name. Here's a shout out for Puddin. Alright, Otago detected. Now, before you fire, I'd be really worried about this Burgon.
Yep.
He's GGWP.
I made
I
sure
might have...
to finish my turn before I decided to do anything, so that way, if the Borgonia shoots me, it's going to be at my butt instead of my broadside.
I might have, if you really wanted to shoot this Otago Black here, I might have actually waited longer and switched to AP. Wait for him to start turning out and then just blab him. I don't think your HE is going to do much.
I don't think the AP will do much either to an Otago.
Well, Citadel damage. He's got a heal, so that's harder damage for him to heal up. That's all I'm thinking about.
I don't think you can Citadel Otago from 10 with these 152s.
Really?
We're talking, yeah, Champion will struggle to get Citadels at that range, so Ochakov
Okay.
has a similar problem.
Okay, never mind then.
You have to hit it
I like-
very specifically under the rear turret, but it's hard to nail it at that range.
I like how the Holland shows up there so you can shoot him instead. That's really nice of him.
At a very, very bad angle to the Borgon here.
Yes, but the Burgon, for whatever reason, shoots at your division mate instead of you. You are very fortunate, Presock, because of that.
I mean, shooting Harakaze is fine. Harakaze has no HP, so even a hit
Right.
will do a lot of damage.
This is true, this is true.
So the one thing for me with this matchup with the tier 10 DDs is that even as a light cruiser, I can only do so much damage to them in a short amount of time that I'm rarely able to actually fully finish them off. But I can usually at least do good chunks of damage to them.
Okay.
When it's you know, closer tier or below tier, then that's where I can usually finish them off, or you know, 80% of their HP during a radar. So.
Also, that Holland was already spooked, so he was in a kiting away position. You weren't going to do much damage regardless.
Right. He's got a heal, so he'll be fine.
Yeah, destroy
the
HP
Burgon-
doesn't go up that much in the tiers, so if it really comes down to positioning, and if they're angled away or not, that's your primary factors.
So here's where that top grade gunner would have been handy, right?
I don't think top grade gunner would have worked there, because he was beyond 9 kilometers.
He had top grade gunner for the first salvo into the Otago, and that was it, I think.
And then the Shimakaze shows up for some reason.
Yeah, well, he wants to die, let him die. Speaking of dying, Eddie's, yeah. Oops.
Oh, death pick.
Yeah. And then the one that I was not expecting to pop up was their Harakaze behind all of them.
Yeah, that
See
destroyers
that?
seem to be having a party in that square.
They do.
So when playing Harakaze like that, you have to really be careful with your engagements. You literally don't have any HP to work with, so unfortunately your div mate found that out the hard way.
So this flank is lost, is that what you're thinking right now?
Well, at this point, I'm trying to get out of the open because I'm not. I don't want to stick around there too long because it doesn't look like it's too great, and the Ohio is trying to get into the same position where my Dismate was.
I like that you radared there. You knew the Shima was in range. Question is, are you gonna get the kill?
I would have dove inwards, not turn out like that. Kind of go to where Lucian was.
Because that would get you the kill, probably.
Probably not, but what I'm thinking is A, that Borger is wall riding, and B, because he's wall riding, he can only get rear guns on you. So you can get a bit more damage on the Holland while you farm a little bit off the Borger. And more
Gotcha.
importantly, you don't get crossfired by everything in the middle.
Yes, and then I will take your advice and then cozy up to the island.
Yeah,
I see that.
but
What's up, Lord Scalper?
yeah, unfortunately it's a bit late, so they still get to take a pot shot at you.
Неполадки устранены.
Okay, so I guess the big question is now what? You're up a ship.
So what we notice is right now our other side of the map is just entering their cap. So even though this isn't like a great position for me, also the Shimakaze goes down to the Lucian.
Yep, he does.
I can use this island to try and pick away at some of these bigger ships.
It's a nice spot to be in. I think you want to come out and kill this Arakaze if possible.
But you have to be careful because the Borger is still on your flank, so...
Yeah, that's the big thing, is that I've got the Borger, and there's also a Yamato making his way towards me. But I'm gonna just try and use this island as cover.
Fortunately, Lucian beat the crap out of Shimakaze, so Borger does not want to push into deep water torps.
I would honestly, you could probably radar here, catch destroyer, and that cruiser to your left has shots.
Yeah, I should have, and I realized that I messed up on that. I definitely missed an opportunity to try and radar here.
How low? Are you sure about that?
I mean, the radar
Sure
was
about
only
what?
20. I mean,
So-
it was 20 seconds ago. Like, the radar only lasts 20 seconds. Your St. Louis could have shot a
Торпеды
couple.
прямо по курсу.
Well,
Торпеды
the
прямо по
problem
курсу.
is, did you tell your St. Louis what you want to radar the destroyer?
No, it would have obviously been part of the.
Also, it is also just to correct. It is 26 seconds with the.
I mean, he doesn't see it for 6 seconds though. Like,
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, the radar is only useful if the teammate's able to take advantage. Considering
Right.
that you didn't communicate anything with him, it's probably best to keep it for yourself. And he got death struck anyways, so probably it's a good idea in hindsight.
All right, so this is where I'm going to bring back that thing I said earlier about people not knowing what this ship does.
Okay.
Did you know that this ship has torpedoes?
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
more
Yeah.
cruisers have torpedoes than not.
Yes. I don't-
Russian light cruiser, so it probably has torps.
yes. And I was betting that this Yamato would not know that.
Пожарная
Okay.
тревога.
He is definitely coming close to you.
You should be firing AP into his butt there.
Yeah,
Yep.
and that's where I stopped thinking properly about what my ammo type was, because I was kind of hoping these torps would kill him.
Also, against
They
the
almost do
Yamato,
it.
honestly, you should also be going full broadside to him.
Aha. Because the shells will overpen, right? They'll shoot through
Yeah.
both sides before they explode.
Yep, if it's a small lens call, you go show your broadside and say, oh, yeah, show full broadside and say, ha, you got 6 overpens.
Alright, so I'm pausing it here right? Because instead of shooting at the superstructure, which is what you're doing right now, what we're talking about is aiming for down here, right? You want to get the rear part of the ship. You should be able to pen that. You can use AP. You'll do more damage in general that way. So I would be aiming... I might aim right about here.
Yep, and I agree with that. When
Yeah.
Yamato was showing you flat broadside, you should also be aiming for his butt.
Mm-hmm. And that's the same for, like, American battleships like Iowa, Montana, Ohio.
How far is he away?
He was pretty close.
Like 2 kilometers?
I
Yeah.
would say about 3 to 5-ish.
I don't think he pans the Yamato.
No. Yamato has 32 upper and then 32 bow and stern. So I'm saying just aim for the stern there.
Right.
Stern, yes.
And for Yamato specifically, you can also hit the upper belt, no problem.
Mm-hmm. Well, you died,
you
but
could have also
you took the
just
amount
done
of it.
the, like, after he fired, do the full turn for the other side of the torps.
Yeah, that's.
Because,
I should have
like,
also. I should have probably also.
Even if
thought
you
to do
hit
that.
all 5 with the first salvo, which is kind of unrealistic, it's very, very close if they actually kill him.
Yep. Yep. But, I mean, you know, you participated in this battle, but it's one of those where the other side, your other flank, just did the things. I mean, they just rolled up the enemy. Right? So...
But I was
Now,
also.
this
I was
is-
also fighting against all tier 10 ships.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's like you're a bottom tier light cruiser. You did what you could,
Mhm.
and like kind of luckily in the end, you get the extra damage with your torpedoes that makes the game look good.
Right.
Otherwise, it would still be a good game, but you like what was the damage? 40,000, 50,000, which is okay in a light cruiser if you're
Yeah.
tier 8 against tier 10s.
Yeah.
You did
because, like,
103,000, so...
Yeah, because 20
I
of
was
20 of
without the
that
torpedoes.
20 of
Oh.
that was against tier 10 destroyers. So even though we lost another destroyer early on,
Mhm.
they weren't really able to push in because I'm there and they're going to push into radar, and they can't do
Mhm.
that.
Okay.
But yeah, your torpedo, like if you hit the 5th torpedo, you get like at best like 8,000 more damage, 9,000. The Yamato still lives.
Right. Yep. So keep shooting after you fire the torpedoes would be a good idea. Well, let's take a look at the replay render. Here we go. We're being very quiet because there's not much to talk about. Unfortunately, you're just watching the game unfold here. That Shimakaze, let me tell you, he just gave it to you.
So
I think
average
what
Shimakaze-
also helped you here is that the Ohio on your team was so aggressive and took a lot of the focus away.
Yeah, he definitely did.
If that were gone, could have freely shot you instead.
Mm-hmm. Right,
I think there
right.
were, I
You're
think there
very
were some
lucky.
times
there.
early on he could have, but
Rip the St. Louis next to you. And there you go. I mean, the other flank, hands off to them, right? They completely dominated that side, moved their way up.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps, right? They didn't have much opposition there.
Right.
There was only one destroyer on that side, and I think that one destroyer went somewhere in the middle and died quite early.
Yep.
So
Let's take a look at the other flank as this replay render goes again. See what the other flank did.
the Chinan got death strike by the Musashi.
Yep.
Mhm.
And here's a destroyer going in the middle up against the gearing.
Yeah, it's a Benson versus a Gearing. Good luck.
I mean, Gearing
And the
actually
Winston
spoke
got
for himself up.
submarined. Their battleship got shotgunned and flooded out.
Mm-hmm. The
And
same
that's
Vincent
basically
did, yep.
all that was on this side, right? Now they only
Yeah,
have
they
like,
all-
what, a
they all-
submarine
they all
left,
left.
and I mean, it happens when you leave a flank open and you
Yep.
have a team that actually capitalizes on it and pushes it through.
Well, and that's what I was just about to say. The enemy team, or your team, did a great job of being aggressive and then keeping that aggression going.
Yep. All I had to do was just survive over on the other side. I didn't have to wait for anything. My damage probably would have been a lot lower if the Yamato hadn't come near me. If he had just stayed away, I wouldn't really be able to go out and use my torps.
Now
Right.
we would have probably be sitting at like a 50, maybe 60k, which is
Right.
still okay. Like,
Yeah. It's a
Mhm.
bottom tier light cruiser.
That's right. All right. Well, hey, thanks for sending that one in. I don't know what else there's to talk about with this replay.